Hoda, really, for inviting me at Cairo University. This is an honor for me. And I would like to start by saying that actually my talk is going to be, for all of us here, nothing new. I'm not going to really provide any new information. I'm not going to tell you something you don't know. But as my role as a sociologist is going just to be kind of eye-opener to the urban reshaping of the city of Cairo, and raise issues, raise questions on how to look at spaces and also the way people interact in these spaces from a different perspective. So it is clear for all of us that Cairo has been witnessing an incredible urban reshaping during the past year. And I just want to say that for me there are two, it's as if if you want to, two factors are, or two phenomena are working parallel-wise. On the one hand, we see that Tahrir, of course, led to the explosion of an incredible moment of public visibility, that it's a place for expressing one's grief and performances. On the other hand, we've been also experiencing this extreme violence that is taking place and has taken place in the past few months, where we are witnessing a walling of the city and, if you want to, a zoning of the spaces of violence, where the military has decided to squeeze, in a way, the revolutionaries. So we have these two trends, and this squeezing that is taking place is very targeted by creating not only walls but wires, zoning areas where people can't enter and go out, and also making life very difficult for the dwellers, so that they end up, of course, hating the revolution, and that is, to my understanding, very much targeted and very much on purpose. So that is clearly done. And this zoning, on the other hand, is clearly done as if the military wants to tell us a lesson, wants to teach us a lesson, that you have a war zone, a space, the city is divided into a space zone, a war zone, and a completely normal everyday life. Or at least this is what the propaganda is trying to tell us. And I think that this is really on purpose, so that the military has learned a lesson, in a way, that this moment, this frozen moment of the 18 days, that were really a paralysis that was paralyzing the city, and at the same time this paralysis was really the moment that created this revolution, is no longer going to be repeated. And we have to be very clear about that, why they are doing that, I mean, clearly. So that, in a way, when we're witnessing Mohammed Mahmoud, we're witnessing all these killings, it becomes just a separated zone that becomes also a normalcy for our daily life. So people would be going to their jobs, returning back home, and so on. And somewhere in a closed section, in a closed area, people are being killed, shot, disfigured, and clearly targeted, so that you have these two, if you want to, moments working together, and we're getting acquainted to it. So, and I think that should be, of course, what I find fascinating is that recently, I could say that the revolution is a process, and we're learning from this process, and I think that this is fascinating how in the past 2 months, the marches took over, because Tahrir, for some, lost the momentum, or not that it lost the momentum, but that the pervasiveness of the marches became much more powerful. So we witnessed then Tahrir was spread and expressed in many parts of the city, and the way these marches have been organized recently proved that they have been improving and getting better and better, and with the logistics that is really wonderful, in the sense of that you have really mobilizing then the entire city, that could lead then to a very interesting another frozen moment. That is the way. And this and when you find also these marches are improving in the sense that it's getting more and more organized in terms of the way people move, the filming, the slogans, and therefore you see that there is an increasing want for the occupation of the public spaces. Let me come, I mean, there are two things which I find fascinating now in terms of urban transformation. For me, I find graffiti fascinating because it's not only the graffiti, but it is this velocity that is taking place, that is absorbing the power of the military in trying to erase the graffiti. And I take the example of the street of Mohammed Mahmoud, how it's every single day that we have new graffiti appearing, and every single day the amount of white painting that is being re-put on it, and then the second day graffiti again, third day white painting, AUC after Mohammed Mahmoud increased the walls, heightened the walls, and it continued on and on and on and on. So it's a fascinating process where you see that people are. It's not only the struggle, but it is this continuation, a continuity that goes on and on and on about the occupation of the space and the legitimacy over. And it's not only graffiti then, it is also the feeling that one wants to record in public, wants to grieve in public, wants to cry in public, wants to paint one's face, wants to write, wants to... So there is a whole, if you want to, procedure that is related to the feeling of a spectacle, that one is a spectacle that who wants to perform in a public space. So, and therefore, what I find also fascinating is the way people are interacting with filming, with photography, because there is a new, if you want to, kind of behavior that is taking place. When we think about photography in the past, I think there was always a very ambiguous and complex relationship to photographers and photography that is related to Orientalism, that is related to colonial past, that is related also to we and the other, and so on. And that is taking today, has been completely transformed by the very courageous photographers who lost their lives and have proven. But also the fact that there is an incredible want to record and to document. This is today the heyday of documentary film, and we've been seeing today the Berliner has been celebrating several Egyptian films. And this wish not only to document, but the wish for the millions to have been in Tahrir and to prove that one has been there, to be photographed in Tahrir as for history, for one's family, and that is very, very interesting in terms of also the public visibility in the city, in relation to the city. So we've been watching, and of course that could be, I agree with Rabab, there is a side to that can be problematic in the sense of the issue of the spectacle, and then that it can slip down into a ceremonial Moulid type, and yes and no, but it has to be also. It has to be, because it is one way of conquering a space that has been manipulated, monopolized by the powers. So that is very important. So it's not only photography, it's again the performances. El Feminine is a very interesting endeavor because it's not only tahrir, it is moving all over the city. It is Mustamirun, it is Kadibun, it is Cinema Tahrir, which is all interaction, public interaction actions and performances in public spaces that are definitely leading to new ways of the self, of rethinking, of interacting, and now the problem is, and I see that, as I mentioned that, I see now as I said, two parallel trends, which is the zoning that is taking place, and the zoning means isolation, the isolation of certain spaces, the squeezing, that is again as one way of isolating. It is isolating the revolutionaries and isolating the protesters, clearly, with, as I said earlier, with the idea of that you can continue leading a very normal life. However, that is not the whole story, because the leading of the normal life is taking place with also propaganda, and I say propaganda of terrorizing the normal citizen by, for instance, terrorizing normal citizens by increasing increasing the rates, claiming to increase the rates of crime and so on. But the point is, as somebody who's thinking in terms of the urban reshaping, we have to now, I think, the question that I'm trying to raise is, and regarding the future of the revolution and tactics and tactics in terms of because the street is very important. The continuation of the street is extremely important for the future. At the same time, one has to be extremely concerned about the violence and the killings. Definitely, I cannot stand all this violence. To rethink in terms of tactics of urban, if you want to, urban occupation, how to counteract, if you want to, or rethink the idea of the normalcy, how the military is now dealing this idea of normalcy against the frozen time, the zoning, the normalcy of everyday life as an isolation to that violence. That's it.